So, three African leaders, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, have agreed to work together to replicate what the Sahelian Alliance from Central Africa as well as West Africa are putting together. Those military guys who took over authority, like Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Chad, Equatorial Guinea. And what they're looking at is how to industrialize, establish refineries for their rare earth mineral and oil. And while this looks interesting and everyone is giving the middle finger to the United States, I wonder if this is actually going to be a realistic plan or someone else is at the background nudging them either from Moscow or Beijing. Why I think Africans need to truly trade with other partners in such a manner that it's a win-win for everyone. I don't see how sustainable this is because even the Sahelian Alliance are not doing a tremendous job. I want to see Africa grow. I want to see every African country come together to grow Africa. But the aggressive strategy they are putting upon themselves and trying to be anti, America or any other person is not the best way of partnering within the continent to make things happen. I want to see Botswana and Namibia grow. I also want to see Zimbabwe move beyond the space it currently is. But how do you build a country on dictatorship, particularly Zimbabwe, where the Mnangagwa administration that seems to be very corrupt and has been said to be more or less carrying out a lot of shady deals as per minerals, where they've got a pastor whose job it is to trade and engage in illegal business of stealing the resources, the rare earth minerals, and selling in international market on behalf of the leadership of Zimbabwe, as alleged to be transparent and truly have the interest of growing Zimbabwe at heart. I don't know if this is some sort of new nationalism, but how do you grow in such a manner that you are not willing to cooperate with any other person beyond the three countries that probably don't have the wherewithal, the resources, and the technical expertise to actually achieve what they plan to do? I don't think this might be sustainable. While it looks good on paper, while the Namibian president has also rejected offer or invitation to visit the White House, demanding that if Trump truly wants to have any business conversations, it onus actually lies on him to come to Namibia, which I think is also in a way appropriate. I also do not think that Namibia or any other country must be confrontational in her quest to see development. South Africa, I know, has not been in good terms with America for a while, and Namibia and Botswana are also looking in that direction. Zimbabwe rejecting the aid offer, particularly funding for HIV/AIDS from America. I don't think that is going to be okay, provided if there are alternatives to the rejection. But what other alternative plans does the president of Zimbabwe have for his citizens in terms of healthcare? Or are these offers tied to certain conditions that probably Zimbabwe is not willing to meet? I really don't know, but the details are yet unavailable for us to see. I want to see Africa beat their chest and say we can't take offers from anyone provided it's tied to certain conditions. But let this not be tied to the kind of things we see from the Sahelian Alliance guys that are providing no alternative beyond propaganda that we see on the media. Africa truly needs to grow, but Africa needs to be deliberate. The unity of Africa would accelerate the development, the growth, and the pace with which Africa needs to grow. These are the kind of alliances that Africa wants to see, but not some sort of small regional corporations that may not really be sustainable in the end, but some kind of relationship that embraces everyone, that brings others to the table to negotiate a win-win for the continent. That's the kind of conversations Africa wants to see. Those are the kind of conversations Africans want to have on the continent. It's not about the hostility against the West or anybody. If the West wants to come in such a manner that the agreement will favor everyone, including Africa maximally, that shouldn't be something any African nation needs to discard, because at the end of the day, we start with this kind of propaganda, and when the shit hits the fan, these same countries will run to the countries they have been hostile to currently for the way out. We can't continue to put up shows and orchestrate the kind of hostility that may turn a whole continent or nation against other parts of the world, only to return to them when the narratives no longer favor us. We must have to engage in robust conversations. While I believe and enjoy the fact that African leaders are thinking about full liberation and independence, it has to also be backed by actions. And these actions has to be backed with plans and some cooperation that open up the entire market in the continent of Africa. I don't know what you think about this, but I'd love to read your conversations, your comments on this development, and I hope to see you in the next video.